video about writing style, specifically word choice. And so I want to talk about word choice or word selection in academic writing because academics are famously terrible at word choice. They pick the biggest word when a much simpler, easier, clearer word would do. And so one thing I've noticed in students is that instead of saying something simple like, he thought to himself, this is interesting. They use all of these new fancy sounding psychological terms like cognition and introspection, and in some cases they may be appropriate, but usually the bigger word is not the best word. The simplest word is the best word. And so I wanted to give an example from my own writing because it's full of terrible word choice options. This is something that I wrote while I was in graduate school, and so it was maybe 8 years ago. And all I have to do is look at one paragraph, and this will hopefully demonstrate what I mean. So it sounds very smart, but it's not necessarily good writing. So we'll start right here at the beginning. Apropos to the themes developed below, my writing style will not be the careful and methodical academic prose esteemed by the institution, but will instead follow my attitudes and intentions, subject to whim. While there are a couple of possible grammatical errors and irregularities, what I want to focus on is word selection. Now, apropos and themes developed below, this all sounds really official, really intelligent, but what on earth am I talking about here? What am I trying to do? The next part of this, so after the little introduction, my writing style will not be the careful and methodical academic prose esteemed by the institution. It sounds like I will be writing this casually. This will be a casual exposition, or this will be a casual essay. So look at how many words are there, and look at how big those words are. And so what I do instead of communicate a simple idea is communicate how big my vocabulary is, and the reader is already bored, already distracted, already confused, and maybe feeling sorry for themselves or sorry for the author for being a terrible writer. So what if instead I just wrote, this will be written casually. So I can do this in 5 words. I'm communicating the idea. Now, is that worth mentioning? Well, evidently, as a writer, I felt it was important to admit or qualify the rest of the essay that this is going to be something casual. As such, the body will include many styles: aphorism, evidential claim, and personal narrative. The motley assortment is consistent with how I see learning unfold, subject to variety and impossible to pigeonhole. Again, motley assortment is a little bit of a cliche and could probably be adjusted to something like the variety I will use is consistent with how I see learning unfold. I can probably delete that entire thing. That list is unnecessary because I've already implied it in the next sentence. So I've already cut out 2/3 of the words, and I've also made this paragraph much clearer. So this essay will be written casually. We'll say the variety of writing styles I will use is consistent with how I see learning unfold, subject to variety and impossible to pigeonhole. That's pretty clear. That expresses what it is I'm after. But notice I've cut out all of those big words. It doesn't fill up as much space because that space wasn't worth filling. Just because I can say something doesn't mean it needs to be said. And so in that example, what I've done was simplified. I've found the smallest, most easily recognizable and understandable terms, and then I've also saved a bunch of time. So instead of taking 10 minutes to read this essay, it's a very short essay, by the way, but I've already cut it by almost 20% in the couple of minutes that I've been looking at it. Now when someone picks it up, they're not like, oh, I've got to spend like 10 minutes. Now it's already 8 minutes, and if I were to do this with the entire essay, I'd probably knock that down to about 4 minutes, which increases the likelihood that someone will understand what I've said or stick around to the end, because I'll be skipping over all of the, okay, get on with it examples. Hopefully just that one paragraph was helpful. maybe I should have given you a little bit more time to read that paragraph first. So if you needed to see it again, rewind the video and say, like, wow, and just marvel at how big those words are, but also realize that you're so distracted by the words, you have no idea what the actual essay is about. So again, this is a short demonstration video about word choice in academic writing.